that opening was very dramatic for a sketchbook session, but what can I say? I was having fun.
Hello, my dudes, and welcome to sketchbook session number 6. And boy, have I got a doozy for you today. At the very least, does this look new?
Oh my god, what is that?
This is unfamiliar, isn't it? Well, that's because we're now filming at the long-awaited new sketchbook session film set that I've been assembling on the corner side of my room for about, I don't know, 4 months now. I feel like you guys have seen it in videos because I film a lot of like my B-roll over here, but this is the first time that I've ever used it to film a sketchbook session. I did use this to film my like painting CDs video, but this is the first time I've ever used it to film a sketchbook session because this is the first time that I've had my new like camera mount thing. I'll put a picture of her on screen.
Here is the new girl boss herself, my new camera holder thing. It's amazing. I can get a top-down shot now. Look at this setup, you guys. I'm very satisfied.
So essentially, this sketchbook session is going to revolve around me drawing basically whatever I want. Because I'll get into it a little bit more in a second here, but I've been dealing with quite a bit of art block and some general mental health ickiness here recently. So a lot of this is just going to be me trying to get back into sketchbooking a little bit. That's why I've broken out the markers, I've broken out the post-it notes. Miss Girl Boss watercolor set is joining us here today. Give her a warm welcome, please. Basically, we're breaking out the big guns because I need to create something that's actually like nice and not like garbage, which is what I have been creating. So let's jump right into it, shall we? So we're going to start off today with something relatively low effort and simple, just because I kind of feel like I need to warm up and get back into the swing of things with the whole sketchbooking thing. It's not like I haven't drawn in my sketchbook at all for a while, but I used to draw in my sketchbook almost every single day, and the art block that I'm going through right now has just sort of prevented me from doing that. Like, I just haven't had the motivation, really. And I'll get into why in a little bit, but I actually just kind of want to talk about the art block to start out with and sort of explain how I'm handling it and what I'm doing, because I actually haven't gone through an art block like this in quite a while. Probably since high school, I would say. I haven't gone through an art block where I couldn't just like force myself to draw in a very long time. And I'm not exactly sure why that is, but I would sort of wager that the biggest reason is that my art and my ability to draw is generally very much tied to like my level of happiness. If I'm generally happy and content, I can force myself to draw even though I'm not like particularly in the mood to. And generally happy and content, you know, is like within reason. You're like, I can still draw on like bad days, but overall, if I'm like satisfied with my life, I can still, you know, draw even though I'm having like kind of just a not great day, if that makes sense. I'm just not someone who can sort of draw whenever I'm just having a difficult time mentally and in sort of like a darker place mentally. I'm not trying to concern anyone, like I'll explain where I am sort of mentally in a little bit here, but I want to explain like that's the main reason I'm having difficulties drawing right now. It's just because like generally drawing is something that I do whenever I'm feeling quite content and happy, and I thrive off of the positive emotions and feelings. So whenever I'm just feeling kind of negative, it makes it harder to draw, and specifically harder to draw things that I'm really happy with. Because I feel like for the most part, my art revolves around pretty happy subjects and things like, I mean, look at what I'm drawing right now. I'm drawing a cat with a hat and sunglasses on, so this is the kind of stuff that I gravitate towards with my art. I feel like my art doesn't really deal with dark subjects or the deepest emotions. I mean, I would maybe like to change that. Maybe again, drawing some things that have a little bit more depth to them, but especially in terms of whatever I'm drawing in my sketchbook, it tends to be studies and pretty things and happy things and cute girls and like all of that sort of thing. And it also just makes it hard to like study and perform whenever you're just not feeling it mentally and whenever you're just not feeling inspired. Like, I would say that's a huge contributing factor to me. I would say most of the time I can find things that sort of inspire me easily and motivate me to draw. Like, I'll just see someone else's art and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I absolutely have to draw something like that. Like, for instance, today, I saw someone's art on Instagram where they had drawn a cat with a hat on and sunglasses, and here I am doing the same thing. So a lot of times my motivation to draw is sort of coming from things that inspire me that I see in my everyday life. So whenever I'm just not feeling that inspired, it makes it harder to draw. And the main thing that sort of gets me out of art block like this is sort of going back to the things that inspired me in the first place. So recently, as I've been having this sort of art block and this like low mental place, I've been going back to things that I really enjoyed sort of from my youth and my childhood, and that's been helping a good bit, helping me to like get inspired. I did that character design video, I guess at the time when this video goes out, it'll be about 2 weeks ago. And that's a story that I worked on in high school, and it's something that brought me a lot of like fulfillment, and it was like really enjoyable to work on. So that sort of helped me to get inspired again. So just going back to those things have been sort of helping me to fight this art block, and overall just having a change of scenery and getting outside more, seeing friends more. I've been locked in my room a lot. Not for any particular reason other than the fact that my work is at home and my college classes were online this semester. So just by default, I've been spending a lot of time just in my room or at my house. So I've been getting out more, and it's helped me to sort of just get a burst of inspiration and refresh my sort of artistic desires a little bit. So that's sort of why I think I'm pulling out of this art block a little bit. We'll see. I'm hoping that this is the case because I miss especially drawing in my sketchbook, because my sketchbook is sort of like my happy place. Like, I've been able to draw for work okay, but even client work and specifically like commissions, I haven't really been happy with the stuff that I've been creating and putting out. That's why I have a couple of clients that are sort of like waiting on me, and they're waiting for me to get an update to them, and I haven't, because I'm working on it and it's just not coming out right. It's not coming out the way I want it to come out. So that's been kind of an issue here lately, and I'm trying to just sort of let myself, for a change, have an art block, because I'm kind of in a situation right now where I can. And to explain that a little bit, like, I just finished my summer semester. We have summer semester at my college. So I just finished it, and I am finishing a couple of like sponsored videos. I'm finishing like a batch of commissions and everything. So I'm sort of in a place where like I don't absolutely have to perform at top performance. So I think that's something else that's helped me to sort of get through this art block as well. Just letting myself feel it and work through it, and not putting too much pressure on myself to be like, okay, you have to work, you have to put out art and things that are like amazing, that you like and that you're satisfied with. I've sort of just been letting myself sketch some stuff that's not that great, draw some stuff that's not that great, or even like not even drawing if I don't feel like it. Like, I've been opting to do a lot more stuff like playing music or going on a run or exercising. I've been watching the Olympics with my brother. Like, I've been opting to do other things instead of drawing, just to sort of like not force it, because I've sort of been trying to force it and it's not coming back that way. I just end up drawing things that I'm not that satisfied with, and it just makes me not want to pick up the pencil again, and it makes me not want to like draw as much. But on days like today, whenever I'm not forcing it as much, like I spent a lot of today not working, not drawing, and sort of letting myself build up to it, to the point where like I can kind of draw and feel inspired. I think it helped me to actually get motivated enough to sit down and actually film this video, which is good. So I guess I don't know if I'm even like really giving advice right now in terms of like if you have art block, what should you do? But this is what I do that's been helping me. It's just sort of like letting it, you know, go its course and letting yourself feel art blocked for a little bit. Because sometimes you just are gonna feel that way and it's okay. I think that's something that's very hard to swallow in this day and age, because whenever people are artists, especially on the internet, you feel the need to be constantly posting on Instagram and constantly putting out creative stuff and constantly putting out content. And I've been sort of trying to do that, but it's like, I don't want to be putting out things that like my full self aren't really in. Like I'm not into putting out stuff that I'm not proud of, that I'm not really feeling, things that I just wasn't really in the mood to draw, but I did anyway because I just need something to put out. I think it's just been a good change for me to just feel an art block and let myself be art blocked for a little bit. Like, as annoying as that sounds, it is annoying, and I have not been enjoying it because art is so much of what I do on a daily basis. Like, feeling an art block is just, it really is new. But I do recommend it if you're having an art block. Like, just let yourself be art blocked for a little bit and find other things that you enjoy that inspire you. Like I said, I have been doing quite a bit of playing music, listening to music, which I kind of fell out of music for a while there just because I wasn't finding things that really inspired me. But as I've been art blocked, I've been sort of searching for new music, and I have friends who are sending me new music, so that's been fun. And it's made me more motivated to learn to play some new music. I've been learning a riff from a Paramore song on the guitar, which has been incredibly painful to my fingers. Thank you, Paramore. But it's also been really enjoyable because it's been a while since I've learned to play a riff on the guitar. So that's been sort of like a fun thing that has taken my mind off of the art block a little bit. And it's helped a good bit to just take some of the pressure off and just let it be, you know? Okay, so now I'm gonna try to draw a selfie of Chloe Moriando because I love Chloe Moriando so much. I've been listening to her new album Blood Bunny and it's very good. I recommend it. So, you know, apart from music, some of the things that I've been doing to combat art block are like focusing more so on other facets of my work besides just the art part of it, because whenever you're doing YouTube or you're doing just illustration commissions in general, like there's so much of it that isn't actually even art related. And a big thing that helps me to sort of like focus and take my mind off of just like art block and other stuff is just to like edit stuff. I've really been enjoying the editing process a lot. Like the last two videos that I put out, like before this one, I think it was the Clip Studio, I can't talk today, the Clip Studio paint tutorial and the character design video that I did. I really enjoyed editing both of those quite a bit, and I had like some editing sort of styles in those that I'm not super used to doing, so it just really helped me to sort of do something creative that wasn't necessarily art related. Like if you're an artist and art is your main sort of creative thing and you find yourself getting art blocked a lot, and you need like another creative outlet, I recommend getting into something else that's creative that you can do whenever you're sort of like art blocked, that, you know, especially maybe if it's not a side hustle. Like it's great to have a side hustle that you make money from, but it's also great to have things that are creative that you do that aren't your job or that you're not trying to like actively profit off of, because whenever you have something that you are trying to profit off of, and especially if it's like your main source of income, or, you know, you're trying to build it up to that point, it's hard to sort of like take a break from it if you're having a day where you just can't make it work. So for me, like playing music is definitely one of those things, and even though videos are like my main source of income, since my content is so much focused on like the art part of things, if I'm not feeling like editing a bunch of jokes into a video, I don't really have to. So on the days whenever I do feel like doing that, it can be just sort of like fun and messing around and goofy. So that's also something that I've been occupying myself with as I've been sort of art blocked. I've been trying to sort of make the other parts of my video content style pop a little bit more. Like I tried to make some of the shots in my Clip Studio Paint tutorial like a little bit more cinematic, which that was a lot of fun. I was experimenting with the way I set up shots. I was experimenting with color grading and all that sort of fun, good stuff. So those like new methods of editing and new ways that I can sort of like indulge in the creative side of what I do for work, that's always really beneficial and fun, especially whenever I'm art blocked. I always have a really good time doing that. So now I suppose what I'm going to get into next is going to be more the mental health side of things, which has been a big contributor to my art block and some of the not so great things that have been keeping me from really doing art and doing what I love. But before I get into that, I want to quickly give a big warm welcome and shout outs to this video's sponsor. Yes, we have our first sponsor of the sketchbook sessions. Take it away, past me.
This video has been graciously sponsored by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? For me, it's social anxiety, depression, and the general stress of everyday life. I'm a huge believer in therapy, and I myself see a therapist on a regular basis. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. And from there, you can begin communicating with them within 48 hours.
BetterHelp makes it super easy to sign up. Just begin creating an account on their website. They have counseling options for individuals, couples, or teens, and from there all you have to do is provide some basic information about yourself and your needs.
It's not a crisis line, it's not self-help, it's professional counseling done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 15,000 plus counselor network, which may not be locally available in many areas. And the service is available to clients worldwide. You can log into your account at any time and send a message to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available.
BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today.
Visit betterhelp.com/pricklyalpaca, that's better HELP, and join the over 1 million people who are taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
There's a special offer for Prickly Alpaca listeners. You can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/pricklyalpaca or by following the link in my description.
Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the sketchbook session.
Oh, wow, that was very informative. I don't know who that just was, but wow, they seem really smart and attractive, and I'd listen to what they had to say. Anyways, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to recorded audio for this section. And I'm sorry there's some slight time lapse here, but I needed the footage to fit. Please forgive me. So we've been discussing art block for most of this video, and I mentioned that I tend to get art block whenever I'm having a difficult time mentally. And the main reason I've been having a tough time mentally and with art block this month is I had some difficult things happen in my personal life, which I'm not really going to go into. But recently, I've also come to the realization that I need to take better care of myself in a lot of ways. Some of this started during the pandemic. That's when I started to work on improving my physical health because I really used to treat my body like garbage. But now recently I was like, oh geez, I've been paying so much attention to my physical health, sleep, exercise, nutrition, that my mental self-care is kind of in the toilet. I used to be like a pretty introspective person, and then I realized, okay, I haven't done that sort of thing in a while, and I haven't really been working on myself all that much because I've been so busy with like work and school. So the first thing that I did to begin working on cleaning out the mental toilet was going back to therapy. I used to go to therapy pretty regularly, but then the pandemic hit and I stopped going, but then I went back and stopped going, and then it was time to finally go back again.
and begin to unclog the mental toilet. Wow, the toilet humor is already coming in strong. Look at that. Anyways, that's been a big help. But part of the reason I'm even bringing this up at all is that BetterHelp wanted me to share some of the things I've been doing to improve my self-care with you guys. And some of this is like developing coping mechanisms for stress and like my social anxiety issues, and just sort of transitioning more into the adult stage of my life and equipping myself to handle more difficult situations. Because I'm sort of like hella emotional. So let's discuss. So one of the big things that I've been doing is journaling regularly. I used to journal in the past, but it was more so like I would journal just whenever I was having a specifically really bad day, a really bad moment. So it resulted in me having this journal full of like my most negative thoughts and feelings, which is like not the best thing in the world. I will say it's helped me to like reflect a lot on things and see like situations a little bit more clearly, because now I know like certain times I was obviously very unhappy and I didn't realize how unhappy I was. But I've actually been trying to journal just a bunch of things, not just negative feelings, like positive emotions too, just realizations about myself, things that I should be doing, things that I shouldn't be doing. Just really journaling all of, my thoughts and emotions has helped to get them down on paper, which to me just helps things to feel more real, especially the things that I should be doing in terms of like making positive changes to like how I think, because I find myself falling into a lot of very negative thought patterns, especially about myself. I don't think that's very uncommon. I think a lot of us do that. So having a place where I can sort of start like a line of positive feelings and thoughts about myself is definitely a good thing. It's been helping me a lot. And just having a place where I can kind of ask out questions and just sort of have a flow of like my thought process whenever I'm trying to process something, or whenever I'm trying to like look for an answer to, okay, why am I feeling this way? What caused me to even start thinking like this in the first place? It's really helpful whenever you're trying to sort of track a thought pattern back to like the initial thought that like, or the initial event that made you feel a certain way. So journaling has been really great. I journal, I don't know, sometimes like almost every morning and every night. I recommend it. And like, just so you know, my journaling isn't pretty. It's literally just, I have a black ballpoint pen, because you guys know I have a billion of those just lying around, and I grab it and I just start writing literally whatever is on my mind. It could be good things, it could be bad things, whatever. It just helps to get them out on paper. And then it also helps to go back at like the more difficult times, the more negative pages, I guess, on good days, and annotate some stuff and be like, hey, we're feeling that way then, but you're having a good day today and you're not always going to feel this way. So it's a good reminder for me to go back whenever I'm just having a bad day and read the pages where I go and annotate, where it's like, hey, you're going to have good days and bad days. And it helps you from sinking into this like tunnel of despair where you're like, oh, it's only bad days, because it's never only bad days. You have a mix of things, especially whenever you're coming off something that's like a difficult situation or event, like it takes time to get over that initial hump of, feeling not great. So journaling has been really helpful. It helps me to just like get all of the processing done. It kind of forces me to sit down and think, and it prevents my mind from wandering a lot as well. That's a huge thing that I've noticed. Whenever I just sit and try to think without a journal, it like my mind wanders, and then it ends up in a completely different place. And then I don't even really think about the thing that I wanted to think about. Now I'm thinking about like 8 different things. So it really helps me to sort of target whatever it is I actually want to process, which is very great. So another thing I've been doing for myself, of course, I mentioned it before, going back to therapy. Therapy is great. I recommend it. I would say the biggest thing I get out of therapy is the accountability every week to know, okay, I'm going back to therapy and I need to be actively working on all of the areas that I say I want to work on. Because I find that whenever I'm not going to therapy, even if I am trying to do some form of self-improvement, I don't have the accountability to actually sit down and do it every week. Especially, like, I have some workbooks I'm doing and everything. If you've been to therapy, you know, like, sometimes your therapist is like, all right, get this workbook, this one, and just do them. And I didn't want to do those at first, but now I'm starting to do them because I have some extra time, and it's like, you know, if it's something that's going to help me, I'll do it. I'm, like, actually trying to put in the time now because I wasn't as willing to do that before. And I didn't get very far in therapy the first couple of years I did it. I think over time, I got pretty far, but I wasn't really putting in, like, the mental work that it takes to get certain results out of the experience. So, like, whenever you're in therapy, you have to do work. It's work just like anything else. So I'm learning that a lot as well. But I definitely recommend that kind of accountability, even if it's just a person. If you can't go to therapy for some reason, I recommend having a person, especially like someone you can trust, who will check up on you and be like, hey, are you reading the books that you said you were going to read? And, you know, it just helps to have someone who's on your side whenever you're going through this kind of process. So another thing, I've been reading a lot of books about like mental health, and really the goal of that is like I'm trying to figure out like coping mechanisms and things that I can do to sort of like deal with work situations, school situations, because, you know, like social anxiety is one of the issues that I struggle with a lot. And I'm really just trying to start developing myself as an adult person, because as an adult person, you just have to cope with a lot of different stressful situations. There's no way around it. And so far, the way I keep myself isolated with, like, you know, my work and my school, it's not doing me any favors in those areas because I'm not getting practice with having to cope with stuff like that. I just get to escape it, which, you know, whenever you're having days when you feel lonely and you're kind of like feeling down and depressed, the isolation doesn't help as well. So you have two problems. You're not getting exposed to social situations enough to use and practice your coping mechanisms, and you're staying so isolated that you're creating new problems for yourself. So that's a little bit of the situation I've found myself in, which is great. But one of the ways I'm going to fix that is by taking live classes next semester and doing more things out of the house, and then just trying to stay less isolated, you know. I feel like a lot of us fell into this pattern during the pandemic because, you know, it was the safe thing to do. But now that things are sort of opening up again and it's, you know, not as dangerous to be out, I'm going to try to be out a little bit more just so that I don't force myself into such an isolated place, because that's not good. I've been doing that a lot because it's easier, but in many ways it also isn't easier. Okay, so next item. This is incredible, you guys. Did you know that moving your body makes you feel really good? I sure didn't for a long time. So one of the things that I started doing during the pandemic, actually, because I was like, hey man, I don't feel good about my body. I haven't moved in months, maybe years. And I have no excuses now because I have time to do it. So I started exercising regularly. Pretty much like 5 days a week whenever I can, sometimes more, sometimes less. I change sort of what I do, but my general exercise routine at this point, it's changed a little bit since the pandemic, but I normally walk about a mile and a half around my neighborhood, and then I go on like a mile-long jog, try to get all that cardio in, try to get steps in because I sit on my biscuit all day because of my job and my school. And then I do normally a Chloe Ting workout. Now, if you guys don't know who Chloe Ting is, she's an absolute queen. She's my favorite fitness person on YouTube, and she makes videos that absolutely just make you want to cry. Every single time I do one of her workouts, it's like instant pain. But oh my gosh, I've never been this strong or this fit in my entire life. And she's a big reason for I'm blown away. if I didn't have her workouts, I would still be sitting on my biscuit every single day of my life, which I am, but I do occasionally get off of my biscuit and go and do a Chloe Tang workout. But that's my general routine right now. Sometimes I vary it up. Like today, for example, as long as the sky doesn't open up on me, which I feel like it probably will, thanks Mother Nature, I'm actually going to try to just walk a lot and run a lot because I kind of want to hit like a 10,000 step goal. I did it last week and it felt nice because I feel like I never get like the recommended amount of steps in. So if I can at least do it a couple times a week, I feel like that would be good for me. Because I'm trying to like improve my cardio right now because, long story short, I got a foot injury over the spring and I had to stop running for a while, but now I can run again. So I'm trying to build up my cardio to the point where I can run a little bit more. But that's like my exercise routine. I totally recommend it. I'm going to be trying to maybe find some kind of sport to get into pretty soon here. I've been watching the Olympics, and every time I watch the Olympics, it makes me think of ice skating. I used to figure skate a lot, and I miss it. So I think I'm going to try to go to the rink this week. I'll let you know how that goes. And then I'm also thinking about getting into rock climbing or a martial art. I don't know, weird stuff, but those are the sports that I'm interested in. I think they're really fun. So we'll see where that goes, but I think it'll be nice to actually get out and do some stuff, especially hobbies and things that aren't work related, because so many of my hobbies are work related and it's not good. It's really not good. Okay, next, eating a healthier diet. All right, my dudes, did you know that the food that you put into your body becomes fuel? Did you know that? I knew that and I ignored it for years. I used to wake up every day and I would be like, wow, I feel just absolutely terrible. I wonder why that is. And then I would think back to the previous night where I drank Mountain Dew and ate ramen noodles for dinner. And then I was like, maybe that's why. So you guys, I've been trying to eat better. And oh my gosh, it has made a tremendous difference in my energy levels and in my skin and just generally how I feel. I have a better performance whenever I am exercising because of this. My immune system is so much better. I have not gotten sick since before the pandemic, and some of that is definitely because of masks and just staying at home and not, being a gross human being, but some of it is also because my immune system is much better. So eating healthier, I absolutely recommend it. Eating healthy looks different for everyone. I'm not going to mention really what I eat, except that I eat a lot more vegetables now and fruit and things that are like nutrient dense, because you're really just trying to actually get nutrients into your body and, more like whole foods that are actually food instead of processed food, because processed food is, if you didn't know, terrible for you. So I've been trying to eat better foods that are actually going to fuel my body. Speaking of fueling my body, going to bed on time. This has been a huge change for me in the last month. I used to really abuse my sleep schedule, so much to the point where I stopped dreaming for like a year. I didn't have any dreams because I really don't think I was getting into a REM cycle most nights. I was sleep deprived every single day of my life, and it was awful. Like, literally, I would crash every day at those afternoon hours, 3 to 5 p.m. normally, and those are crucial work hours for me for both assignments and for work. So we couldn't have that. So I've been going to bed probably pretty much midnight every night, pretty close to on the dot. You guys might be thinking, wow, that's pretty late, but hold on one second. For the most part, the next day I wake up between the hours of 7:30 and 8:30. So when you think about it, I'm getting, between 7.5 to 8.5 hours of sleep every night, which for someone in my age bracket is pretty much ideal. So basically, I haven't been getting too much sleep. I haven't been getting too little sleep. I've been getting just the right amount of sleep, which gives me also time in the morning to get up and actually do some stuff that I need to do. I used to sketchbook every morning, and now I have a little bit more time to do stuff like that because since I'm going to bed on time, I am now getting up at a reasonable hour, which is really good. The morning hours are really good for productivity for me, especially more creatively driven things like actual art. So that's been excellent. I fully recommend getting actual sleep. I also work out in the evening hours, which makes me tired enough to be able to go to sleep. So that helps me a lot. I basically work out, shower, eat my dinner, and then go to sleep. And my dudes, I've never felt more like an adult person in my entire life. Like, when you do these things, and I read in the evenings too, like, I'm telling you, I've become a full-fledged adult. I drink tea. I have to have coffee every morning. I'm becoming a very boring person, and I've never felt more like an adult in my entire life. Okay, so last thing for this little section, spending more time outside. You guys, did you know that you get vitamins from sunlight? Did you know that, my dudes? I knew that, but I ignored it for a really long time. I've been going outside during the day recently, whether it's to just catch a couple of rays, during midday, or whether it's in the evening hours when the sun is setting, so it won't burn my very fair Irish skin, but it will be giving me some vitamin D. I think that's the vitamin, I don't know. Also, vitamin D, excellent rapper name. Anyways, so going outside is incredible. It's so peaceful. I fully recommend it. If you don't go outdoors, just start doing it. It's so nice. And I live in a very hot state. So I go outside in the evenings most of the time where it's peaceful, and yes, the humidity is at 100% and it's 89 degrees, but it's still better than the sun beating down on you. So I love it. I love it so much. I go on long walks. I look at the sunsets and the clouds. It gives me drawing inspiration. You guys know how I love to draw clouds. Most of that love for clouds is because I take long walks in the evenings, like a 76-year-old person in an assisted living center. You guys, I'm becoming an adult. This is my coming of age story. But I'm loving it. I'm having so much fun. It's good for you. It gets me away from the screens and the television and the YouTube 24 hours a day. I have a YouTube problem. It's incredible. Speaking of YouTube and social media, another big thing that I've been doing that's like a huge deal is changing my relationship with my phone and with my social media. So I'm sure that a lot of you have issues sort of like going on your phone too much, checking social media too much. I'm sure this is something that a lot of people can relate to, but I've been trying to do all of that less because I've come to the realization, it's not a realization even, it's pretty obvious. Going on your phone too much and so checking social media obsessively is really bad for you. It sets up this weird dependency on seeing good things on social media or constantly hearing from friends. It's not good. So one of the things that I've been doing with my phone is, first of all, just sometimes turning it off during the day even. Sometimes I just don't need my phone, so I turn it off. Another thing is I don't keep my phone on my desk anymore whenever I'm working. I used to keep a charger cord on my desk, and I used to keep it here so I can check it every so often. I don't even do that anymore. I make myself walk to the other side of my room if I want to check my phone, and I only let myself do that a couple of times a day. And yes, I do sleep next to my phone because it's my alarm, and sometimes I just need it next to me. But one of the things that I've been doing to sort of prevent myself from also checking my phone obsessively, thank you, brain, this is going to sound kind of extra, and believe me, it is, but I took a sheet of paper and I wrote down a bunch of affirmations on it because I've realized one of the reasons I go to my phone in the first place is because I'm looking for some kind of affirmation. I'm looking to feel good about myself, right? That's the reason I check the YouTube Studio app obsessively. That's the reason I go on Instagram. That's the reason I go and see if I have texts from friends, because I want to feel affirmed. I want to feel good about myself. Of course, we love to see it. It's normal. So instead, what I have done is I have taken a piece of paper and I've written down a bunch of affirmations and just like positive things about myself. Yes, I'm insane, but that's okay. And my strategy is that anytime I feel like checking my phone, or if I'm looking for something, sometimes someone texts me and it's like, that's the reason, and I don't read them if that's the reason, whatever. But if I'm going to my phone because I'm procrastinating, which is most of the time, or I'm sad, or I'm just bored, what I do is I make myself verbally read off every single affirmation before I check my phone. And most of the time, whenever I do that, I don't even end up checking my phone. I just read them off, and then I feel better. Because I have a lizard brain, and sometimes I need to be reminded of things instead of just constantly looking to social media and strangers on the internet to affirm me, which is just, when you say that out loud, extremely sad, you know? So it's one of the things I've been doing to change my relationship, quotes, with my phone. And I think eventually I'm probably not even going to like really use a phone that much. I really don't think that having a phone on you constantly is a good thing. One of the ways I've already seen a huge change is that the other day whenever I was leaving the house, I forgot my phone. And then I was in the car and I was like, I want to play music. Where's my phone? And I was like, oh, I left it inside. So I had to go back inside and actually grab my phone. So already, like, the dependency on, oh, I have to have my phone so that I can do this and that and check social media or whatever, it's already starting to change, in my thoughts towards this stupid rectangle are already starting to change. It's wild. It really is, that a ridiculous little rectangle has so much power over us, but it does. Okay, another thing that I've been doing is whenever I'm checking an app too much or too often, I just pause the app, I freeze it, and then I don't check it for the rest of the day, or I don't check it until that evening. And I highly recommend this if you're starting to procrastinate. This is also a great thing to do if you're procrastinating and you're trying to be more productive. Pausing apps, putting your phone in a different room, all that stuff, just get it away from you, because it really will just drain all of your productivity. The final thing that I've been doing, well, I've also been less active on social media, which is good. I'm trying to like not make posting this like obligation that I have to do, but more so a thing that I do whenever I'm having fun or just whatever, you know, that sort of thing. But the final thing that I did was, you guys, I just straight up deleted TikTok and Twitter. I got rid of them. I still have accounts on both. I don't know how long I'm going to. I think I'm going to wait like a couple of months and see if I still even care about having accounts on TikTok and Twitter. But I might just delete my accounts, honestly, because both of those apps have never really given me anything. I don't enjoy using them. They kind of just make me feel bad and waste time. And I was like, do I even need these apps in my life? No, I don't. Let's cut the cord and get rid of them. I'm considering deleting the Facebook app for a while, I'm being honest. It's really starting to bug me. But those are the phone things I've been doing. It's helped a lot. If you have issues with checking your phone too much, I recommend these strategies because they work. Okay, so the next thing is talking to someone when I'm upset and actually leaning on others for support when I need it. Yes, so I'm sure many of you also have this terrible little habit, but I don't always talk to people whenever I'm feeling bad, and I've gotten really bad at repressing feelings. And I'm trying to break that habit, because then it just tends to all come out at once and it ruins weeks of my life at a time. And hey, it's a lot better to deal with your problems as they come and talk it out. That's one of the reasons why therapy is great. If you're having a problem that week, you can talk about it, you can get it out. But I've also been relying on my friends and family more, you know, building that good old-fashioned support system, and it's been working wonders. It's already making a huge difference. It's really amazing just how actually taking care of yourself and not falling into self-destructive patterns can be really, really good for you. Wow, who knew? All right, now I've also been trying to be more disciplined with like my schoolwork and my work because, as I mentioned earlier, I have a bit of a procrastination problem, and I don't know exactly what it is. I'm sure the human mind just doesn't like to focus on one thing at once. It likes to just do everything at once. And I also know my mind, whenever I have an idea or whenever a creative burst hits me, if I'm doing something else that day, the other creative burst takes priority over that. I'm gonna start doing the other thing. I've been trying to do that less because I have deadlines, you know, and the stuff that needs to get done that day needs to get done that day. And I've been trying to let myself like rest some days and have days where I'm just doing like creative whims, you know? But then work days and school days are for those things. So being more disciplined with myself has also helped a lot because it really brings a lot more structure. Yes, spontaneity is great. I really enjoy being spontaneous with myself and my work, but sometimes you just gotta get your sponsored video done because you gotta make money. This is one of those days. But yeah, overall, I've been seeing friends more, spending more time with family, going out more. That's been great. I've been joining more sort of like activities, if that makes sense. I've been playing some music with people. I have been, let's see, what else have I been doing? I've been like just doing a little bit of like volunteer work. I want to do more in the future, but I'm only doing what I can handle right now. That's always great. I am a huge believer in the principle that one of the best ways to help yourself is by helping someone else. So volunteering is a great thing to do if you're not feeling great, because it's just putting something good out into the universe is never a bad thing. Now, to sort of conclude this section of the serious talk, sit down, honey, your dad and I need to talk to you about something. Talk is, of course, a big one. I'm trying to now get a life plan together for working in my field of study and eventually moving out of my house. For those of you who don't know, I already have an associate's degree in building construction technology, and I'm currently working on a degree in engineering technology. And the reason I'm going to community college and getting associate's degrees is because it's what I can afford. Would I like to go to a full-fledged, like, university? Of course I would. Do I have the patience for it? Maybe, maybe not. This is my third year working on associate's degrees because I'm getting 2 degrees total. I don't know why I said 3. So I've already spent the time, but it's really more the money. But I've been, really conflicted as to what I actually want to do for a living because, YouTube art, it's great. But I also want something that's going to make me a lot more financially secure. So I've invested in this other area of life, this other vocation, and I'm very unfamiliar with just the normal working world because I've done freelance art and YouTube sponsorships and advertising for like as long as I can remember. Well, I've done freelance most of my life. That's been my part-time job all through high school and everything. So I never really had to go and work, food service or anything. And I'm thinking about maybe doing that just so that I know what it's like. I know what the experience is. But I need to figure out what area of engineering I actually want to work in. It will most likely be drafting, but I need to actually explore like what I can deal with, because I still want to be able to do art on the side at the very least, if not do art for my actual job. We will see. But Actually getting a life plan together is a big priority now because my life has changed a lot recently, and my life plan and expectations for the future has changed a lot. So now I'm having to sort of like reprioritize and figure out, okay, what am I doing now? Because sort of like the sky's the limit. I can do kind of whatever. I don't really have anything tying me down. So I've been thinking about, do I want to move out of state eventually? Where do I actually want to work? Where do I actually want to settle? So big things, big plans, big ideas. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about in this portion is growing my YouTube channel and growing my art stuff. That's a big priority for me now because I've been enjoying it a lot lately. It's been bringing me a lot of fulfillment, and in the past I think I've been a little bit too obsessed with the numbers and with the views and how everything's performing. And over the summer really, I've been able to take a step back and just let it be what it is, and just let it be something that I do because I do genuinely enjoy making videos and making creative content. But in many ways, I also feel like I put myself in a bit of a box here on YouTube because, you know, when you're an art YouTuber, you're an art YouTuber. It's what you do. And it's kind of difficult to break out of that box if you want to. Like, I know people have done it. Like, look at D'Angelo Wallace, for example. He's doing commentary now. He was an art YouTuber for years. I remember following him when he made just art content. But there's a lot of content that I want to make because there's a lot of stuff that I just find interesting. I'd love to do a little bit of commentary. I'd love to do video essays. I'd love to just make some chaotic, weird content. I've already done that a little bit. But there's so much that I want to still make and expand upon. So one of the big goals of mine is to figure out how to integrate that with what I'm currently doing here on YouTube. I promise you the art content isn't going to stop. It's not going to become any less frequent. You guys might just be encountering the odd video essay or extra video or something like that, you know, just because I think that kind of content would be fun to make and it would be fun to, you know, present to people. Because I could just be making stuff like that in my free time and not even putting it out, but I think some of the fun is the discussion that gets sparked by it and just the reaction and sharing it with people, you know? Whenever you've made something that you're proud of, you want to put it out there and share it with people. So I'm sort of in the place where I'm trying to decide whether I want to put some of that stuff out on my current channel or start a new channel. If any of you want to weigh in on that decision down below, be my guest. I'd love to hear what you think about that, but there's a reason why I called my channel Prickly Alpaca and not Prickly Alpaca Art, because it is just Prickly Alpaca. It is just whatever creative thing the stream of consciousness in my little nugget brain decides to put out into the universe. So I don't want to limit it to just art. While whatever I put on here probably will be creative and artistic, I think it's going to take new forms in the future here, because a big priority of mine now is having a lot of fun with my YouTube and having a lot of fun with my videos, because I feel like people can really tell whenever I had fun making a video versus whenever I didn't have fun. And I feel like I've been doing too much of like the samey, this is what art YouTubers put out, and I never really intended for my content to be that. I always wanted to make things that were at least a little bit different. I want to put a little bit more creativity into it instead of falling into the same genre and the same format that a lot of people use. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I enjoy making those videos sometimes, but I also enjoy making more original content. You know what I mean? So that's where I am mentally. Those are the self-care things that I'm doing for myself. I'm sure that there are other things that I have mentioned, but overall, just addressing issues and taking care of myself are the main things I've been doing, and it's already been helping a lot. So really just expect a lot of weird stuff from me in the coming months and in the future, especially content-wise, because I have so many ideas and so many things that I want to make, and I'm so excited to make them. I've been on fire here, you know, on days whenever I can stay focused and I'm not just watching the Olympics for hours. But that is the gist of it, and I'm going to send it back to the me that is actually on the sketchbook session now. So take it away, other me.
Now you might be wondering, where's the rest of the video? Well, the reason that this is it right now is because the full-length video ended up being about like 2 hours long, and while I did ask you guys and you said that most of you would be okay with watching a 2-hour-long video, I still just felt a little bit weird uploading something that long, and also, to be honest, I think it will kill my computer. So I actually am going to just upload part 2 of this tomorrow, the very next day. It's gonna be out on Saturday. Today is Friday, so if you want to see part 2 to this video, just wait until tomorrow. It's gonna be real quick. And if you're watching later than that, well, my dude, it's already up on my channel, so why don't you go just watch part 2 if that's something that you're interested in. And that's it for this particular video. Thank you guys for watching this long. I really appreciate all of the support, and thank you if you go over and watch part 2. You guys are great. You guys are the best. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, even though it dealt with some slightly more serious content than usual. Part 2 is gonna be a little bit more like, you know, having fun and just drawing like literally whatever. So if you want some more fun vibes, go watch that. And I will see you next tomorrow, my dudes. I keep saying my dudes too much.